Tonight on 2020, is O.J. Simpson about to walk free?
I just wish I had never gone to that room. I wish I did.
With his parole hearing coming up just next week,
Any comment, O.J.? Any comment?
the whole world is watching again.
Does it bother him that so many people detest him and think of him as a murderer?
Now, our 2020 camera is taking you inside the crime that put him behind bars. Armed robbery.
This is where it all went down for O.J. Simpson, the Palace Station Hotel, where a few drunk moments in one of the hotel rooms here led to his 9 to 33-year prison sentence. This time, what happened in Vegas didn't stay in Vegas.
You won't believe it. It was O.J. Simpson.
Revelations from the men inside that tiny room with him.
Room 1203 is a room you'll never forget, right?
I'll never forget that one.
He leaned in a little closer and he said, by the way, can you get some heat?
Meaning a gun.
Meaning a gun.
And a rare look at O.J. Simpson's life in lockup. Claims from his former guard.
He has a shrine to Nicole. When he wakes up, that's the first thing he sees.
I am just sorry that
Now his fate is in the hands of 4 strangers.
One of the things that they consider, what's going to happen when this guy gets out, and my name is on his walking papers.
But in the minds of many, will he be paying for one night in Las Vegas or that night in Los Angeles?
I think there's about a 52% chance that he will get parole. But if you weren't O.J. Simpson, I'd say it would be 92.
O.J., his last play. Good evening, I'm Elizabeth Vargas.
And I'm David Muir. Right here tonight, O.J. Simpson, of course, sitting in a Nevada prison where one former guard now claims he's been putting in extra exercise time, getting into shape for what he hopes will be that walk free out of prison. And news about that possible parole will come in just days now.
That's after 9 years in prison, but the Las Vegas robbery that ultimately put him behind bars has its roots in that infamous civil trial in Los Angeles. So right here tonight, 2020, connecting all the dots, the money, the rare network interviews with the men, and what O.J. Simpson was after that night in Las Vegas. And tonight, what are the chances he's about to go free? Here's Deborah Roberts.
There he is, 61-year-old O.J. Simpson in a Las Vegas courtroom in 2008, when a lifetime of good fortune runs dry.
I thought I was confronting friends and retrieving my property. I didn't mean to steal anything from anybody, and I didn't know I was doing anything illegal, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all of it.
Convicted of armed robbery and kidnapping after that bungled memorabilia heist in a hotel room.
I was heartbroken by it. OJ, what were you thinking? What were you thinking?
All rise.
Walloped with a sentence that could amount to life behind bars, up to 33 years in a Nevada prison. The judge saying the sentence fits this crime.
I'm not here to try and cause any retribution or any payback for anything else. I want that to be perfectly clear to everyone.
But former Simpson manager Norman Pardo says many see the stiff penalty less as justice than as just desserts.
I mean, she made it sure, that judge did, that it was going to be a show, that this was done for a reason, Mr. Simpson. This was done to show you that we can do what we want. You're guilty. Maybe not of stealing a bunch of footballs, but you're going to be guilty of murder, and we're putting you away for 33 years.
Simpson's crooked road to that low-rent Las Vegas caper begins nearly a dozen years earlier with one of the most controversial acquittals in history. Not guilty of murdering ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman in June of 1994. The white Bronco leading to the trial of the century and a cavalcade of the suddenly famous. Judge Ito, Marcia Clark, Christopher Darden, Cato Kalin, Cochran, Kardashian, Shapiro, and F. Lee Bailey, the Dream Team, and that phrase that helped set him free.
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of...
That not guilty verdict keeps him out of prison, but Simpson soon finds himself snubbed by his old upper-crust golfing buddies and scorned by many adoring fans who embraced him before the killings.
We actually believed that if he's found not guilty, we all go back to our lives and just move on. he thought he'd walk right back into it.
I think the vast majority of the people in Brentwood thought he was guilty, and it became very uncomfortable for him to be here.
Rejected by much of white America, Simpson turns to the black community, showing up at church services, like this appearance at Scripture Cathedral in Washington, D.C. a year after the trial.
We love him, O.J. Simpson. As my mother told me, the truth will set you free, and it did.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ed Gordon.
Simpson grants his first post-trial interview to Ed Gordon on BET.
Why don't you sell the Brentwood estate? Go away for a little while.
Go where? Whether they want me to go to Africa? Is that what some of those people would want? Go where? I live in L.A.
This is right after the trial had happened and he was acquitted.
Yes, this was his 50th birthday party.
Walter Alexander, a minister now, was in real estate when he met Simpson soon after the acquittal, inviting him to join his regular golf game.
How would you describe the friendship?
I was the person who pretty much introduced him to the black golfing community. You know, I mean, before me, he really didn't have anybody to golf with. You know, the Hollywood had pretty much turned their back on him, you know, and they didn't want him at the Riviera Country Club anymore.
C.J. Stewart says he began golfing with Simpson in 2004.
Did you have any view about his guilt or innocence?
I'm being totally honest with you. I didn't care. I really wasn't concerned.
But Simpson also begins attracting the kinds of friends you don't meet on the golf course.
A different O.J. came out of that trial. The first O.J. was the Heisman Trophy winner, the runner, the actor, and then after the trial became the more godfather figure, you know, and it was more of the bad guys coming up to him because they want to hang with the ultimate bad guy.
The victims' families sue, and the civil trial a year after the criminal case goes very differently. No cameras in court, and Simpson's forced to testify.
And that changed everything. You ever physically hurt her?
Yes.
You ever bruise her?
Yes.
Once O.J. Simpson had to testify himself and his story completely fell apart, it was a totally different game.
A very brief interruption, everybody. In case you haven't heard the news until now, there has been a verdict in the O.J. Simpson civil trial in California.
This time, the jury finds Simpson liable, awarding a wrongful death judgment in the amount of a whopping $33.5 million.
Today's 2.5 years, a little over 2.5 years. And we finally have justice for Ron and Nicole.
Elizabeth Vargas spoke with Fred Goldman.
Is it justice?
Not the justice I would like, but it's a way of getting some justice.
Although Simpson's always denied any involvement in the murders, his career, all those lucrative gigs, TV pitchman,
Rent a Ford fast from Hertz, the superstar in rent-a-car.
movie roles,
Quick, catch your season, Pin.
that had all cratered after the first trial. And now the Goldmans begin squeezing the man once known as the Juice.
In Santa Monica today, the judge in the O.J. Simpson civil trial says he will order Mr. Simpson to turn over more than 100 of his belongings to the court, including his Heisman Trophy and his golf clubs.
The sheriff sends moving trucks to Simpson's mansion, but the former running back and his supporters are ahead of them.
The sheriff's department needed to know where to park these two giant moving trucks. So we knew the day before that they were coming to seize these various items. There's quite a few people, his family and friends, moving stuff out and taking it up to different homes. OJ was out playing golf. Deniability. I left. I had his collectibles, personal items, Tiffany lamps, carpet.
Mike Gilbert also took things for himself under an arrangement he says he had with Simpson to accept memorabilia in lieu of payment, though some things he says no one had a right to take.
It bothered me when they started taking things that I didn't think was just.
OJ, the congratulations of all of us for your impeccable character.
Thank you, Mr. Cassell.
Thank you, Mrs. Simpson.
How do you take away his Heisman?
That trophy is sold at auction for $250,000, but other memorabilia will make its way to a hotel room in Las Vegas, where the cops, and some might say karma, are about to catch up with O.J. Simpson.
People have always said to us, you know, karma will get him in the end.
Our effort of constantly going after him maybe pushed him even only this much into committing armed robbery. Ain't that wonderful?
September 13, 2007, and O.J. Simpson, now a tarnished celebrity, is back on the Vegas Strip. Not headed to the clubs, but rather to the chapel. He's best man at friend Tom Scotto's wedding.
He was more excited for me to get married than I was. My wedding was a 4-day event. We had parties every night.
But that's not the only reason Simpson is excited. He gets a tip that some of his lost and valuable personal memorabilia will also be in Vegas.
I got a call. It was Al Beardsley. He's this 6'6", 300-pound OJ fanatic saying, I have all the stuff from OJ's trophy room. He didn't pay his bills. His agent stole them.
Sports collector Tom Riccio tries to authenticate the stuff directly with the Gridiron Great. As Simpson will later learn, Riccio likes to covertly record conversations.
Between you and I, this is stuff OJ personally loves.
Called OJ. OJ said, look, Tom, this is not memorabilia. These are personal artifacts that were stolen from me.
Simpson's staying here at the Palms Resort, and poolside, he huddles up with Riccio and some other buddies, strategizing a major play to score back some of his stuff.
He says to me, I need someone that I could trust to go up there or go and see what it is.
Meet Charlie Ehrlich, a Miami strip club promoter and part of Simpson's new pack of friends. Ehrlich says Simpson asks him to pose as a buyer.
So I said, OJ, listen, for you, I'm gonna do this.
He leaves, and later upstairs in Simpson's hotel room, the planning continues. And so does Riccio's recording. Listen as the juice gets in game mode.
Shut it off. It's 3:30 already. She wants to do this at 6. So we're talking about 6 o'clock. I got a few times. My intimidating best.
By now, someone else is joining this company of conspirators. Simpson's old golfing buddy, Walter Alexander.
Riccio left, and then all of a sudden the conversation got serious.
What was the plan? What did O.J. say he wanted to do?
When he approached me about it, he was like, hey man, will you watch my back? So I said yes, and then after I said yes, he leaned in a little closer and he said, by the way, can you get some heat?
Meaning a gun.
Meaning a gun. And when he said that, I hesitated.
Alexander may have hesitated, but someone else soon steps up. He runs a security company and has a concealed carry permit. His name? Michael McClinton, a Simpson pal from the Vegas nightclub scene.
He asked me, would you go with me to be my security? Sure, I'll go with you. Little did I know that it was going to turn into what it did.
So after he did that, I look at OJ and I say, so OJ, you know, what if they called the police? And he looked at me and he used a 4-letter word that starts with F and ends with K. The police. What they gonna do? Take me to jail for taking my own stuff?
The stage is set, and Simpson's motley crew is now 4 deep. Riccio, the go-between, heads north to the Palace Station Hotel to link with the memorabilia dealers. Watch as they bring in the haul.
We took the memorabilia down to the room, set it all up for this supposed buyer that was coming in.
What you'll see next is like a real-life version of Ocean's 11, captured by the constellation of cameras dotting the hotel ceiling. A half hour later, Simpson and the others hit the road. He's now recruited 2 other guys, including C.J. Stewart.
He gets in the car and he says what?
Man, I got 15 minutes to get there. You don't even have to get out the vehicle. Just please don't leave me there. And I look around, I got 2 other guys in the vehicle with him.
That would be Ehrlich and another man. The pretend buyers head in first. You're watching Ehrlich on the casino floor, making a phone call to get the number of the room.
2 seconds later, I look down the hallway, I see OJ, this guy Clarence Stewart, who I met an hour and a half ago, these 2 black guys who look like they're out of Miami Vice, slick back hair, Versace glasses, suits. I go, who are these guys? Excuse my French. I said, oh boy, this is a typical OJ move, I'm saying to myself.
McClinton takes me back to the lobby at the Palace Station Hotel, which is currently undergoing significant renovation.
So you come in here, you gather with all of these guys, and who's sort of in charge of the plan?
Mr. Simpson is in charge.
What did he say?
Well, he just said that we were going to wait for some guys to come from down this way.
For the first time, everyone comes together.
No one knew anybody. It was like going to the good fight at the OK Corral.
Or in room 1203. Remember, McClinton and Alexander, each armed with a pistol.
When we got to the door, Mr. Simpson asked me to show my gun and look menacing. We all barged into the room. The guys in the room were shocked to see Mr. Simpson.
This guy had a face on him that was just a rage.
I seen this guy getting ready to go up under the mattress. First thing went to my mind, it was a firearm. So I pinned him back against the wall and said, no, don't do that. What's going on here? Next thing, Simpson, you could hear his voice coming in.
Like you can steal my cell out. Don't let nobody out of here.
This is actual audio of Simpson inside that room. Secretly recorded by Riccio, it would be critical later in the courtroom.
It was stated that I pointed the gun. And I can tell you now, being honest as possible, I never pointed that gun at anybody.
I did take my gun out for one, split second. And when I realized that the room was safe, I just put it back in.
Did you think at that moment that that was a mistake?
The minute I pulled the gun out, I'm like, man, this is a robbery. This is going to be on national news. You are going to jail for this.
9 hulking men crammed into a small room that barely holds a bed and a bureau.
So OJ says, pack up all the stuff and let's get out of here.
They grab everything in sight. Autographed footballs, OJ's plaques, Joe Montana lithographs, baseballs signed by Pete Rose, even neckties, and stuff them into pillowcases from the bed.
He looked like Santa Claus walking out of the room.
Only thing left behind? This box and a phone book. Nothing was safe from pilfering.
I actually went and snatched the cord of the phone out of the wall, and I took Bruce's cell phone.
Why'd you take his cell phone?
Because I didn't want him to call the police.
So you leave the room.
Yes.
What are you thinking at that point?
That we just did a robbery.
When we come back, Simpson celebrates his high-stakes heist with a night on the town.
Ghost Bar, Playboy Club. Every night we were out until 6:30 in the morning.
But he's the one about to get squeezed.
911 emergency. Yeah, we were just robbed at gunpoint by O.J. Simpson.
It's a Thursday night on the Vegas Strip. Football legend O.J. the Juice Simpson is out celebrating over sushi and sake at the Little Buddha restaurant. He just made what could be his biggest score since his playing days, taking back memorabilia he believes is his.
We all met at the Palms and had sushi. And OJ was there laughing, and he just thought it was the funniest thing.
Listen to this audio of Simpson that night joking about the robbery. It seems there's no unrecorded moment in this caper. Yet another accomplice, Michael McClinton, secretly tapes Simpson because he says he doesn't trust him.
At that time, I knew he was full of and I thought if something was going to go down.
But O.J. Simpson is about to become the butt of his own joke because unbeknownst to him, the memorabilia dealer Alfred Beersley has already called the cops.
911 emergency. Yeah, we were just robbed at gunpoint by O.J. Simpson. Can you send the police here, please?
Where are you?
Palace Station Hotel in Las Vegas. We just robbed by O.J. Simpson and 4 other black men at gunpoint.
I need to know who we're looking for. 4 black men and O.J. Simpson is not enough. I'm going to need to know what they were wearing.
Frustrated by that 911 operator, the dealers then try reporting Simpson in the lobby, as seen here on hotel surveillance cameras.
I went up to the front desk and I said, I need security. I was just robbed by O.J. Simpson. And they started laughing.
Police arrive 15 minutes later.
The cops showed up and they were really lax about it. They were like, so you're robbed, O.J. Simpson, who else was here? Al Cowens.
And all that time, O.J. is thinking, no big deal.
O.J.
You're not going to be
drunk,
arrested.
Okay? O.J. was inebriated. He was definitely drunk, and it was all funny to him. He just, kept saying no guns. Just say there wasn't guns.
A line Simpson would repeat to police who find and question him the next day. But he's not arrested and dons his tux for the wedding. Remember, he's best man for his friend Tom Scotto.
The wedding day went perfect. OJ was in great spirits and positive mood.
But Simpson's wide smile will soon fade.
Boom, right after the wedding, they pick him up, they lock him up.
He and his buddies are about to get busted.
And you knew what was happening?
I knew what was going down.
Police search Alexander's bag, not for a stolen football, but rather the identifying suit he was wearing. Why? They need to match his outfit to the surveillance tape.
When you go to the casino, you're filmed from the minute you go in the door. You know, there was a recording of the entire caper.
Did it not occur to you all that there's a camera here, there's cameras here, there's cameras all over this place?
That wasn't on my mind, and I'm sure it wasn't on the other guy's mind either.
Soon, it's headline news.
O.J. Simpson is under arrest in Las Vegas
in connection with an alleged armed robbery.
Deja vu all over again. O.J. Simpson in handcuffs. And soon, back in familiar territory, a courtroom.
Conspiracy to commit kidnapping, a felony offense. Conspiracy to commit robbery, a felony offense.
In the gallery, familiar faces, the Goldman family.
Oh my God, we giggled and we laughed so hard. I mean, you can't write a better story.
Simpson and his 5 pals all under arrest and facing stiff charges. They begin to roll over on the football great, striking a plea deal for lesser charges and no jail time in exchange for testifying against their buddy, O.J. Simpson.
I said, O.J., I'm not going to prison for him because I know he wouldn't go for me.
But the star witness is Tom Riccio, the man who arranged the meeting between Simpson and the dealers. He's granted immunity. Remember, he secretly recorded the confrontation in room 1203. Listen as it's played in court.
You tried to take my shirt.
OJ got duped by Tom Riccio. He set OJ Simpson up. Oh yeah, Tom Riccio's a rat.
Who did I rat on? Did I rat anybody here? Name a person I ratted on.
Riccio says that it was O.J. Simpson who was giving the orders in the room.
Maybe I did rat on some people. I don't know. Maybe I did with the OJ thing. Maybe I did. All right, so I'm a rat.
After a 2-week trial, 13 years to the day of this infamous moment, O.J. Simpson's fate is once again in the hands of a jury.
Guilty. Count 2, conspiracy to commit kidnapping. Guilty. Count 3, conspiracy to commit robbery.
The 61-year-old found guilty on all 12 counts. Friend C.J. Stewart, the only one not to have cut a deal, also guilty of armed robbery.
When you heard those words and you're standing there in that courtroom,
I froze up and I told the officer, take me to jail. And I showed deserve to be there. I asked for this. I left myself open. I wasn't no victim. I allowed myself to get caught up.
so you were beating yourself up at that moment.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. It's okay. It's okay.
I just wanted my personal things, and I realized I was stupid of me. I didn't mean to hurt anybody, and I didn't mean to steal from anybody. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Simpson, I'm going to sentence you as follows. Count 1.
And then that stiff sentence, up to 33 years in prison.
I'm not here to sentence Mr. Simpson for what's happened in his life previously in the criminal justice system.
The judge wanted a verdict to parallel the day of the O.J. Simpson trial. I maintain that 33-year sentence echoed the $33.5 million that was imposed in the civil case. That, in my mind, was not a coincidence.
It's kind of a bittersweet moment, knowing that that SOB is going to be in jail for a very long time where he belongs.
The one-time poster boy now posing for a different kind of close-up.
OJ went from a castle to a cage.
Next, what's life like for O.J. Simpson, spending the last 9 years behind bars?
On his shelf next to his bed, he has a shrine to Nicole.
Inside the Juice's prison cell. Stay with us. Population, 2,000.
You're really essentially in the middle of nowhere. There are a smattering of casinos there, cow pastures. It's beautiful in many respects, but the prison is what really defines it.
Lovelock Correctional Center, a medium security prison almost the size of the city itself. 1,700 inmates, including prisoner number 1027820.
I think he's probably the most famous inmate in the United States at this time. We just see him as inmate Simpson, just like any other inmate.
When he first arrived in 2008, he got a greeting from an unlikely pen pal.
You wrote him a card in prison. What did it say?
Welcome to your new digs. Signed, the Goldman family.
Simpson's friend of 20 years, Dr. Henry Johnson, has visited him throughout his confinement.
How would you describe his fall from grace?
O.J. Simpson being in that prison, coming from an 8,000 square foot mansion on top of Rockingham, that's a very humiliating place to be.
Simpson's cell, like this one at Lovelock, is 90 square feet with the standard issue bunk bed, toilet, sink, and 13-inch TV.
2 people live in a cell. You'll have a little desk area, some shelves. Some of them have hot plates.
His first years at Lovelock were really difficult. He kept to himself. He didn't really socialize. But after a while, he kind of acclimated to life behind bars.
David Ng, a reporter for the LA Times, spoke to former inmates about Simpson's daily routine.
He gets up early in the morning, 6:30 every morning. He likes cold cereal for breakfast. And after that, he goes to work. His job is in the prison gym.
Simpson describing that work in a 2013 parole hearing.
I help supervise the activities in the gym. I start each day disinfecting the workout equipment in the gym, mopping floors.
Former inmates who are now outside of Lovelock always noted how popular O.J. remains among the prison population.
Everybody at the prison wants to talk to O.J. and get some juice time.
Jeffrey Felix, who worked as a correctional officer at Lovelock for 20 years, wrote a book called Guarding the Juice. Felix says Simpson was lucky to land at Lovelock.
Lovelock is like a cruise ship with barbed wire. They have ping pong, they have basketball. O.J. is the softball commissioner of the Lovelock Correctional Center Softball League.
He adds that Simpson's fame has led to some special treatment.
O.J. Simpson, the Juice, the Heisman Trophy winner, does not wait on lines at the prison. He'll go to the front of the clinic line, the front of the canteen line, the front of the culinary line. He talks real loud, and he talks in the third party. So, like, for example, he would say, hey, the Juice is hungry. Let's go to the culinary. It's kind of weird.
The prison says Simpson's treated like every other inmate, but Felix claims the officers handle him with caution.
You just can't put O.J. in handcuffs. You have to have sergeant or above approval to do that. If you're covering an area with a weapon and there's a fight, the untold rule is make sure the Juice isn't there when you go shoot. Because if you shoot, you miss, and you hit O.J. Simpson, it's going to be a very bad day.
As for passing time, Felix says for Simpson, it's still about sports.
O.J. Simpson watches ESPN 24 hours a day. He reads sports magazines.
And he has a notable memento in his cell next to his bed.
He has a shrine to Nicole. It's a picture of him and Nicole, and it sits right on his shelf. So when O.J. rolls over in the morning when he wakes up, that's the first thing he sees.
Tell me what that is like when you walk into that visiting room and he comes out. What happens between the two of you?
The show starts.
The show starts?
The show starts. O.J. is a showman, even in prison guard.
What's the hardest thing for him?
Well, I think the hardest thing is being separated from family and friends.
I missed my 2 younger kids who we worked hard getting through high school. I missed their college graduations. I missed my sister's, I should say, funeral. I missed all the birthdays and various things.
Even with Simpson on the inside, outside fascination remains, with programs like ESPN's Oscar-winning documentary, O.J. Made in America, and the FX Emmy Award-winning series, The People vs. O.J. Simpson.
Because I told him I had nothing to hide. What do I got to hide? People wanted to know, was he watching it? What did he think? Did he like how Cuba Gooding Jr. portrayed him? He did not have access to watch those shows.
Felix says Simpson's focus has been on one thing: parole.
He's on his best behavior 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He's been in there for 9 years. He's never had a write-up. Not getting a write-up in a prison is kind of like being followed by highway patrol for 9 years and never getting a citation.
Next, Simpson at 70. In 1 week, will he be set free?
The bookies, the ones that make bets under the table, have a bet, will O.J. Simpson get his parole? And he is a big-time favorite to get his parole.
Stay with us.
Good morning. Good morning.
July 2013, O.J. Simpson at a Nevada parole board hearing via closed-circuit camera from the Lovelock Correctional Center.
Mr. Simpson, is there a statement that you would like to make to our panel today?
Yes.
The commissioners weighing whether to parole Simpson on 5 of the 12 charges he's convicted of. Simpson making the case as to why he's a worthy candidate.
I am just sorry that I had to send the state of Nevada legal system through all of this, because I know it's not been fun for the people involved.
Using a comprehensive review process, the board weighing 11 different criteria, like conduct in prison, prior convictions, age, possible gang activity, or substance abuse.
It is going to measure what is the risk to the community, what is the inmate's likelihood to reoffend.
I have spoken at length to both of the victims. They've apologized, I've apologized.
And Simpson coming through with flying colors. The criteria says he's a low-risk parole candidate.
It does take a majority of 4 of the 7 commissioners to grant or deny parole.
He's paroled on those 5 charges, but that doesn't mean Simpson's a free man. The remaining charges involving assault with a deadly weapon ensure that he stays behind bars for at least another 4 years.
Mr. Simpson was not eligible for release at that time, so he's now coming up for parole release on those counts.
Now, that day of judgment is here. Next Thursday, the parole board reconvenes back in that same hearing room in Carson City, Nevada. Given the results of the last hearing, Simpson would seem to be a shoo-in for a full parole. After all, he's the only member of the robbery team to serve serious prison time. The others are all free men. Accomplice Michael McClinton, who's written a book about the case, says it's unfair for Simpson to be singled out.
Should he be paroled?
I think so. I think that he's given them what they ask. They asked for 9.5 on 33.
But of course, none of his accomplices enjoy Simpson's notorious reputation. Next week's hearing will feature a live video feed with a horde of TV crews and reporters present.
The parole board knows the world is watching. The question's going to be, can Simpson get 4? To say, I'm just not going to let the fact that he's almost certainly a murderer impact my decision.
Though Simpson was acquitted of the murders of Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman, the victims' families have made their thoughts on parole well known.
What would that picture look like to you?
Disgust.
You tired of fighting this fight?
No. You know, if it keeps them in jail.
But by law, the parole board is supposed to ignore the notorious murder case.
He wasn't convicted, and so that doesn't count in any way.
But there's also Simpson's star status to consider. Attorney Bruce Zucker, who specializes in parole hearings in California, says boards can be especially wary of cases involving celebrities.
The celebrity factor is huge, whether the person is the defendant or the victim. And one of the things that they consider, whether they admit it or not, is what's going to happen when this guy gets out and my name is on his walking papers.
Take the case of the infamous Manson family killing of actress Sharon Tate. It took more than 40 years for a parole board to sign off on the release of the youngest Manson follower, Leslie Van Houten.
She's a perfect example of somebody who was very unpopular, obviously, has been a model inmate, but nobody in the California Parole Board is excited about signing her parole papers. In fact, the governor in California has just vetoed it.
You'd think Simpson might be cut some slack because of his advanced age. After all, he just turned 70. Some might even say he's due for a Shawshank Redemption-style release for the elderly. But again, in the case of Simpson, all bets are off.
Let's call him John Simpson. 70-year-old John Simpson would almost certainly get parole. But this is O.J.
Still, former parole commissioner Dorla Salling has faith in the process.
I know these people, they'll just look at the facts of the case to make the best decision that they can make.
Next Thursday, Simpson will either be granted parole, denied, or if the board deadlocks, wait for another hearing next January. In Vegas, former prison guard Jeffrey Felix says people are already betting on the outcome.
The bookies have a bet, will O.J. Simpson get his parole? And he is a big-time favorite to get his parole.
I think there's about a 52% chance that he will get parole. But if he weren't O.J. Simpson, I'd say it would be 92.
Next, what will become of Simpson if he is released? Could he become a millionaire again? And will he return to his hard-partying lifestyle?
After he gets out of prison, he's going to go right back to his old ways.
Stay with us. Before he became prisoner number 1027820, O.J. Simpson was doing this. Rapping, partying, basking in the glow of recognition and fame. But at 70 years old and with the prospect of returning to society after 9 years in prison, will Simpson also return to the fast life? Friend Tom Scotto says no.
He wants to be with his kids, he wants to be with his family, and he wants to play golf. It's going to be hard for him.
He's had 9 years to reflect on the mistakes in his life, and let's hope that his final chapter will be a peaceful one.
But trading his prison mop for a 9-iron and the 90-square-foot cell for that sprawling Miami mansion he left behind will come with challenges. After 2 years of an unpaid mortgage, Simpson can no longer hang his hat in that 4,200-square-foot Florida home. It was sold in foreclosure.
He got a 33-year sentence. What is he going to do? Keep a house for 33 years? No, that wouldn't be a business decision.
And if Simpson decides to re-enter the workforce, there is that 1997 civil lawsuit where the Goldman and Brown families were awarded a $33.5 million judgment.
The Goldmans, they're going to be in his head forever because he can't make a penny without it going right to the Goldman family to pay off that judgment.
But if Simpson gets ex-con status, chances are he won't be destitute, thanks to that generous NFL pension.
The Goldmans can't get access to it legally. So he gets that $25,000 a month, and the Goldmans can't get a penny of it.
The NFL declined to comment on what Simpson might receive. And in the blinding light that is O.J.'s charm, chances are he'll continue to be surrounded by adoring fans, just as he was before prison. Some who insist he's not a murderer, others who don't care.
Something takes over when you're in his presence.
I'm 74 years old, but I want to meet O.J.
There's just a sense of wanting to believe him and go with him to this place where everything is still okay.
I've been waiting to meet you all my life.
His friends would call it the O.J. effect. They would say, yeah, you got O.J.'d.
But one family immune from being O.J.'d would be the Goldmans, hoping that Simpson's bad karma endures, keeping him in prison for the full 33-year sentence.
For me, the only justice that would have been appropriate is if in the criminal trial he was found guilty and then put to death.
The truth is, we are angry towards a person that committed a heinous, vicious murder.
2020 reached out to O.J. Simpson about his upcoming parole hearing, but his lawyer told us he had no comment. If Simpson is granted parole, his earliest release would be October 1st.
And whether or not he gets parole, the story will live on. His cohorts in that robbery, Charlie Ehrlich, C.J. Stewart, and Walter Alexander, are all writing books about the incident. And that's our program for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Elizabeth Vargas.
I'm David Muir. From all of us here at 2020 and ABC News, thank you for watching. Good night.